Diet silver now. Yep.
What's going on, everybody? How we doing? Welcome to another edition of Analytically Correct. With you guys, as always, your boy Bredigans and Marty, our producer Stretch, and we're over here at Shamrock Liquors and Public House as well. Sorry, they're both kind of the same thing. They're both conjoined. Anyways, yeah, right behind Applebee's on University in Alafaya. Thank you guys again for joining us. Today, I think we're going to talk a decent amount about the NFL free agency. I think that had some big splashes there for sure. Going to get into a little bit of the NBA as well, and then whatever else the fuck you guys want to talk about. I think right out the gate, I think what we were going to try to do is talk NFL free agency. So without further ado, what's one of the bigger splashes to you?
I would have to go with the Lions, honestly, and not just because I'm a Lions fan, because I have no problem talking about how much they suck now and for their entire history, but I think a lot of people would consider Trey Flowers to be, if not one of the best, maybe the best free agents out there. No matter what you think about Le'Veon Bell, I mean, Antonio Brown doesn't count. That was kind of a trade. But, the Lions lost Ziggy Ansah, who they drafted in 2013. He was really good. He had some like double-digit sack seasons, and then they kind of just replaced him with just like a younger model around the same price. So they just kind of, whether or not they upgraded there, they at least stayed the same, if not got better. The Patriots' defensive scheme, the way they used him, wasn't necessarily the best way to put up like huge numbers. You're not going to get those 10, 12 sack seasons the way that you could with I think some of the other schemes. And then obviously he had Matt Patricia was his defensive coordinator. I don't know if that played a role in him going to the Lions. I think it was something to do with the almost $20 million a year. I think whoever gave him the most, but I definitely don't think it hurt. So I would say Trey Flowers. I was really happy about that. And anytime you try to build through free agency, it's kind of dicey. The contracts towards the end could wind up being not as good as the beginning. I mean, it was only like 5 years. He'll be 30, so I mean, even if we'll just replace kind of what we lost with Ansah. One of the more interesting ones was Nick Foles that happened earlier in the week. I was curious to see what you thought about Foles going there. We kind of talked about it last week, but it became more official. It was 4 years, $88 million. It's $22 million a year for Nick Foles. I don't know how much of an upgrade that you think Foles is over
Blake Bortles.
Over Bortles, yeah. Now, I'm not a Blake Bortles fan at all, but at some point, what is it worth paying $22 million when you don't have any kind of weapons? At some point, you need to help. That's a team I think that could have given up a third and a fifth for Antonio Brown, and they would have been just fine instead of paying $22 million for Nick Foles. I don't know what you think about that whole thing.
I don't know. I mean, I don't disagree with you as far as possibly getting Antonio Brown. I don't think they would have had anybody to throw to him, though. I think Derek Carr is a lot better than Foles and Bortles. I actually don't mind Nick Foles at all. I think he's a pretty solid quarterback. I know Chad disagrees with me. He mentioned that he's just like a scheme type of guy, and people remember his awful play with Jeff Fisher. But
everybody was bad with Jeff Fisher.
Everybody was bad with Jeff Fisher, for sure.
The Rams went to the Super Bowl 2 years after Jeff Fisher.
Yeah, so, yeah, he's just garbage. But
I don't think, you can't hold that against him. But you think that that Derek Carr is a lot better than Nick Foles? You think it was mostly that the Eagles team was so good?
Not a lot, but I think better.
The Eagles team was so good around him that it kind of made him look better?
I like Nick Foles. I really don't mind him.
Yeah, I do too. I just think the $22 million a year and then the 4 years, he's not old or anything by any stretch, especially for quarterbacks playing nowadays. But I just think if you're going to spend $22 million, I would have rather just saved a couple of those and kind of spread it around and just kind of run it back with Bortles. Like, you got to the AFC Championship game with him, and you just paid him last year. So, I mean, if you believed in him last year, obviously the entire season played out and he didn't play up to the contract like we all knew he wouldn't. but you can't just give up on that after 1 year and then just invest 22 more million into the same position.
You kind of hit the nail on the head there. I mean, we all knew he wouldn't live up to it, so that's then it's kind of like, all right, well, he didn't live up to it, so we got to make a move now instead of being like, well, we're stuck with this contract for 4 fucking years. We got to get rid of it. But I don't know. We kind of brought up earlier just via text, going back and forth with some of you guys. About who would you rather have, Dak Prescott or Nick Foles, contract aside.
That's a good one.
I know. I think it is a pretty good one. I mean, I'm gonna try not to be biased. I might take Foles. I think Dak is a little bit more. He can just do a little bit more. He's a little more adaptive to things. He can run a lot better than Foles. But man, I don't know. That's a tough call.
That's like right on the line of what you would want to compare. I think I would take Foles. Honestly, it's one of those sports argument things where it's you either have to be all the way on this side or all the way on that side. I don't think if you pick either one, it's stupid. But for the sake of argument, I would say Nick Foles is sometimes Dak is a little bit too safe. He'll take like a 3-yard run when he had like a 15-yard over the
right. Middle. I'd rather that than a pick though.
Right. But Foles, I think, is not reckless. I think he's a good balance in between taking chances and like making throws. I see more throws from Foles where it's like, okay, that's going to move us down the field. That's going to like get a drive going, rather than a run up the middle on first down, a 3-yard quarterback scramble, and then like an incomplete. Like I said, I like Dak, but if I had to pick between the two of them, now if it's contract aside, it's about to be Nick Foles for sure, because I think Dak is going to get a lot more. Than, especially from the Cowboys. I think Dak is kind of like one of those guys where it's like if you're Jerry Jones' boy, you're gonna be taken care of. I mean, look at Jason Witten coming back for way more than he's worth. He's pretty much a tight ends coach for $4.5 million.
In all honesty, I think I touched on this last week. I like that signing. He's better than any tight end that we have on the roster. I mean, and he knows how to look. He's not going to score 15 touchdowns. We just need him to run routes. That'd be an awesome bailout for Dak, which we just talked about. Instead of a 3-yard loss, just maybe not that 15-yard pass down the field, maybe just that 5-yard pass that just keeps the drive alive or keeps it going, anything like that. I think it's an awesome. It's just a safety net. He's not coming back to set any records. I think it's just a great safety net signing, in my opinion, at a position that we desperately need anyway.
Fair enough. Not like $4.5 million is going to break the bank for the Cowboys or anything like that. Just more of the fact that if he thought that he should retire 2 years ago and then he spent a year not playing football, I'm sure he's still working out, but it's different working out and actually playing football.
Of course.
Then you're coming back after you already thought you should retire, you took a year off, and now you're coming back.
Well, at least it's not 3 years after. I don't know. This all could change if he takes one hit from fucking dirty ass Burfict or something over the middle. Like you never know. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's a good thing to talk about. So I mean, kind of going right into it, the Antonio Brown thing. Are the Raiders in a better position than they were? I know it's a crazy question to ask because of Antonio Brown, but like money wise, like are they going to be able to? Like, are they in a better position going forward?
They had cap room, and to get rid of a third and a fifth, I was talking about it all week with people, and I was just like, all it took is a third and a fifth round pick. Like, why would the Patriots not offer like a second round pick, or why would that's the best offer that was out there? I know that they didn't have any leverage, and he kind of ruined the situation there for any kind of leverage that they would have had. But a third and a fifth round pick. Like, I would trade the Lions' first-round pick this year for Antonio Brown. Whoever you get in the first round, maybe 5 years down the road they become as good as him. But by that time, you're already having to pay them, and they're going to be in a free agent market. So for getting him for 3 years, $30 million guaranteed, and you're seeing some of these other free agents like Justin Coleman, just that's on the screen right now, 4 years, 36, and some of it's not guaranteed. But all you're giving up is a third and a fifth. Like, you can't even name who was the Cowboys' fifth-round pick last year. Like, if you're getting Antonio Brown for that, I was just shocked that it was and Amari Cooper. I know he's younger, and I know he was still under contract, and they had to renegotiate Antonio Brown's contract. But for him to go for a first round and Antonio Brown to go for a third and a fifth, I can't believe that no other team in the league thought they needed a receiver bad enough to give something better than that.
Right. To me, just kind of looking at it as you were. Like, man, it's crazy how no one else would give up this much. I think, I just don't think he's that great of a locker room guy. Like, I think he's going to get a little bit pissed off when he's not getting them. I mean, it's not my opinion on this. I mean, it's clearly shown on many video of him throwing absolute tantrums on the sideline. I've touched on this a bunch. It's not a whole Dez thing. It's not even almost kind of an ODB thing, more an ODB thing. Dez throws tantrums because we're losing and he just wants to be up in the lead and he knows we're the best team in the league. And well, at the time we were number 1 seed in the NFC. I'm sorry, was that weird?
I thought you were kidding. I don't know.
Oh no, I mean we were. Yeah, the Cowboys were number 1 seed when that whole
the year when the line was all healthy and that was Dak's rookie year, or
no, Romo was still there.
You're talking about those teams, okay?
Yeah. Well, yeah, the catch against the Packers. Anyways,
to play the other side of the argument, to kind of argue against what we both think a third and a fifth. You're saying the whole locker room issues. To argue against that, I mean, if you look at the teams that have been winning Super Bowls, you don't need an elite receiver to win a Super Bowl. So, like, as far as team building, you have it's a salary cap sport. Everybody knows that. You have a certain number that you have to stay under. So if you're giving, but still, 30 million, 10 million guaranteed per year is not a ton. Like,
it's not a ton. No one said money. I don't want him in that locker room. Like, I wouldn't want him on the Browns. I wouldn't want, like you just said, I don't want him in the locker room.
I think that stuff is kind of overblown by the media sometimes. I think if at the end of the day, the people who care about him doing that on the sideline are fans and the media. I don't think his teammates are in the locker room like, man, he cares too much. And then fans all the time are like, oh, this guy doesn't care enough. Phillip Rivers doesn't care enough. And then they say like, oh, if he throws a tantrum at one of his players, he's like, oh, he's being an asshole. Like,
well, Tony Brown's straight upset. He's like, I threw a tantrum because I wasn't getting the ball. He was knocking over Gatorades, fucking cans, and throwing his shit. Like, why are you a fucking little child, baby bitch?
Don't you? Well, I mean,
what is he doing?
He's like,
are you kidding me?
But don't you want your receiver to want the ball? Like, do you want to be like, oh?
Not one receiver in the entire league does not want the ball. That no one needs to show that they want the ball. Every single time in that huddle, they want the ball. Okay, if we're gonna make it about that, like, if you're gonna complain with a Hall of Fame quarterback who's been Roethlisberger, you're going to go anywhere else in the league and you're going to fucking throw these things. It's going to be even more so.
I think I said it last week when Larry Fitzgerald was saying that when he was at the conference talking, and he said, like, they asked him what he thought about Antonio Brown, and he's like, man, I would have given a lot to play with a quarterback like Roethlisberger. And not that he was disparaging Derek Carr, because I don't think they knew where he was going at the time. But he's just saying, like, man, it could be a lot worse. So be careful what you wish for. But I think part of the frustration is I think the money is going to help. To where, like, okay, I'm not getting the ball, but he was making way less than he should for the last couple years, and he was making like half of what the guys who were as good as him were making. And then if you want to say, I know everybody always wants to say, oh, what he did was unprofessional. There's no like doubt about that. Like I wouldn't argue that. Nobody would argue that. It's not like the right way to go about it. But I mean, at the end of the day, he got what he wanted, and then people say, oh, he should have honored the contract, been a professional. But NFL teams don't honor their contracts all the time.
Nobody says that. I don't. Well, maybe people you talk to. I don't think anybody's like, well,
no, people say that stuff all the time. Like, oh, like especially they do it more for the NBA. Like Anthony Davis, oh, he should honor his contract, play out the time. You signed the contract or whatever. But it's like he was underpaid. He can't renegotiate and get more. The only leverage he had was to do what he did, and it worked. So
possibly,
I think more people are going to start doing it, and a lot of fans hate it. But then if he goes to your team, you like it. If he leaves your team, you don't like it.
I guess, yeah. One thing I do kind of want to touch on really quick is the Buffalo Bills got my boy Cole Beasley.
I was going to say that.
48-year-old Frank Gore and John Brown, who was really good for like half of a season maybe with the Cardinals. And then he went to Baltimore, wasn't very good.
He's one of those guys where everyone has had him on their fantasy team at one point. And you're like, oh, he's on the waiver wire? I'll pick him up. He sucks. He's off my team. And then somebody else picks him up, and that's just like where he goes for eternity.
I think it's a great sign, to be honest with you. You don't need these big wide receivers who demand the ball all the fucking time. I think that Beasley and John Brown are going to really complement each other a lot, and they're going to give Josh Allen a lot, in my opinion, a lot of confidence running just easy crosses right over the middle, easy slants, stuff like that, little wide receiver screens. Get his confidence up to possibly bring the defense in, go deep, because that system is what made Tim Couch the #1 pick overall in 2000. Because you look at Tim Couch's stats, I think he had like not a lot of passes completed over 20 yards, if any. He was awful. That Kentucky system was all dinks and dunks and all this shit. But his yardage, they just gave it to him and they fucking took the goddamn hell off. But I just think that, in my opinion, for that type of quarterback, for this system, for a team that is not expecting a whole lot out of you, I think these are pretty good signings. Maybe not the Gore thing, but I mean, he's going to be professional. He's going to get you 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Like,
I mean, he was good for the Dolphins last year until he got hurt, which is what old people do. They get hurt.
Yeah. It's a lot colder up there as well.
They're going to have the oldest backfield in history with him and LaShawn McCoy. I mean, McCoy's still there, right? He's going to be there next year.
Probably, yeah.
Ruined my fantasy team last year.
Yeah. Another one I just want to touch on because I fucking hate this guy is Deshaun Jackson signed back with the Eagles. What a fucking
To bring the whole thing full circle, I was talking to somebody at work, and they were talking about like, hey, wasn't that and they're like Deshaun Jackson? That was the guy who he was getting the touchdown, he threw the ball down. I was like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, that was so stupid. I was like, he did it in college too. He's like, he did it. The guy didn't.
Cal, right?
Yeah, he did it at Cal. The guy didn't watch college football. He's like, how can you do it once, let alone do it twice? And I was like, he did it twice.
Talk about a fucking clown on the sideline.
It's like one of those. It's like one of those things. If you're going to do it once, you're probably more likely to do it twice.
He's just an idiot.
That hasn't happened too recently, though. I haven't seen anybody do that recently. I think somebody did in like an Oregon college game a year or two ago.
Against Cincinnati, I think. Or there's a red team.
But yeah, that I don't know. I don't know.
I'm not a huge fan of that guy at all. I mean, some of my Eagles fan friends are talking about, well, he's going to open up the lane that way. Well, what the fuck was Aguilar doing? Or what the hell was Golden Tate doing the whole second half of the season? Like, I don't see that signing as being very good for that system. Now, if they're switching offensive coordinators or something, then I can kind of see that. But in my opinion, he's doing what two wide receivers who are currently on the team should have done last year, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens.
The Browns got Sheldon Richardson. That's going to be a nasty defensive line. That's going to be a nasty defensive line next year.
Take a lot of pressure off of some of our pass rushers who need to get some of the space, like Garrett and all that stuff. I think it's going to be. I think it's a good signing.
Yeah, I thought he was older though. He's only 28, so they'll have him for 3 years, 39.
Right, it's arguably in the prime of his career right now.
It's Clowney and then him on the interior, and then who are the other two guys? Oh, they have Chubb now. Yeah. Oh no, I'm thinking about Bradley Chubb. They have another defensive lineman who's really good. Is it Pogba?
Garrett is. We're talking about the Browns.
Yeah.
Okay.
Miles Garrett.
Yeah, Miles Garrett. Yeah.
But yeah, that'll be good.
Jadeveon Clowney or anything like that. That's
okay. Yeah, I'm thinking of something else. I'm thinking of Clowney and Watt. Anyways,
that's all right. Yeah, whatever. Fine. They have an okay defensive line. We'll see what happens. I mean, it's not going to hurt them. Yeah. In my opinion, I don't think this is too off the edge here, saying that they're going to be the AFC North favorites going into next year.
Yeah, I mean the one of the winners in the Antonio Brown trade was the Browns for not having him in the division anymore. You can look at it like that. I mean,
and I mean, who's the other best team? I guess the Ravens, because the Steelers, we have Big Ben, but you don't really have almost anything on offense. I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster or whatever, but the Bengals are fucking garbage. Juju Smith-Schuster?
They call him like Pluster or something.
Oh, I may have accidentally said it. Sorry. Did I say cluster? I'm sorry about that.
I just made up like a dream team defensive lineman between 3 different teams. Don't worry about it.
Oh, that's all right.
I just said Clowney.
We'll call it even.
I just said Clowney and Miles Garrett and Sheldon Richardson on the same team.
But yeah, I think that they're going to be a really, really good team. I mean, they're lucky enough that they're not going to play in a very good division, but
yeah, because you're going to have Lamar Jackson, old Ben Roethlisberger.
And Andy Dalton.
Well, yeah, that's enough said with Andy Dalton there.
We'll see.
Yeah, and then AJ Green's going to get hurt 6 games into the season.
Of course.
So yeah, I guess Le'Veon Bell. Do you have any idea? Not that you have inside information. Where do you?
I've heard. I mean, we've all heard. If you log in, it's Chicago is one that people are talking about. We'll see what happens.
Because they were talking about trading Jordan Howard.
Right. So we'll see. I mean, it's gonna. Who fucking knows, man?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I don't know why I put that on. Like,
that's all right. No.
What have you been hearing?
Speaking of running backs, UCF's own Latavius Murray just went to the Saints, so you can pretty much say goodbye to Ingram. And not that Latavius Murray is going to blow it up with it, because I mean you still got Kamara, but I had Latavius Murray sort of for the second half of the season last year for terrible reasons I don't want to mention for fantasy-wise, but he was solid as shit. I'll say that, dude. The guy can catch out of the backfield. He's a hard runner. He's not as bulky as we like him, but honestly, he's a great backup for sure.
He's one of those guys who doesn't like get credit for being as good as he is. Like nobody really pays attention to him. You draft him in fantasy like later on, and everyone's like, oh, Latavius Murray, and he winds up putting up like solid numbers. He's just kind of like in the background kind of guy. But like you said, with a compliment to Kamara. The way he opens things up, most people are going to look pretty good. But yeah, I mean, Ingram was good last year, so it'll be interesting to see what they do with him as well.
Tate, to your comment about just like in baseball, I don't give a fuck if our division is weak. That's what separates that's why I get so much shit for liking liking the SEC is that pro is totally different from college. Like, everybody gives me shit like, oh, man, you're this big SEC fan. How come you don't pull for the Redskins and the Giants? And you're a fucking idiot.
No,
like,
it doesn't
that's
work
not
like that. It doesn't work like
schedule.
that.
Don't give a fuck in the pros.
Yeah.
Everybody in the pros is fucking awesome. Like, well, they try harder in college. You know why I like pro better? Because they don't have to try, and they're still better than those people who are trying their hardest.
Every person in the pros, every person in the NFL was the best person on their college team.
So fucking dumb. Like, I hope that the Giants and the Redskins and the Eagles go 0-16, just as you hope that the Cowboys go 0-16.
Yeah,
it's what it is. And you know, I'll gladly glide into the playoffs. You guys played a shit division. I can't hear you over my fucking playoff.
You think the Patriots are mad? Do you think the Patriots are mad that the division they've been in forever sucks?
That's a good division. I mean, that's a good point too, because their division isn't very good and they still win Super Bowl. So clearly it doesn't matter.
There was a crazy stat that came out when people were doubting the Patriots before the playoffs last year. Like, why would you do that?
Every year.
Right. But one of the stats that if you were doubting them that you could have looked to was plus minus, which is basically like if you beat a team 24-20, now your plus minus is +4. If you lose by 5, your plus minus is -5. Whatever. They accrue that over the season. So against just the teams in their division, I think they were like plus 80 something. And then against everybody else, they were like +2.
Oh shit!
So it's like, they're pretty much like an average team, except they just destroy their division. Which, yeah, but somebody is saying that you should root for your NFL division to be good.
And most of the time, I know that they're just my friends. They're just trying to get
get
a rise out of me. But at the same time, I truly do.
You don't want the Giants to be?
I truly believe that there's a little bit of them that actually believes that. I think because they make fun of that all the time. They do bring it up all the time, and obviously it gets the reaction that I just did. But honestly, I think that they honestly think that, because I get shit about that all the time for college. I'm like, look, guys, I'm not doing this because it's just fun to do. Like, I understand how college football works. And so that's what I'm doing. That's how it works.
Yeah, once somebody beats Florida, you want that team to go undefeated the rest of the year to look like Florida lost to a good team.
Awesome. Yeah, but before, as much as I hate Florida State with every fiber of my being, I kind of want them to be 11-0 when we play them. So when we kick the fucking dog shit out of them, then it'll make us look a lot better. Because guess what? A 11-0 win over Florida State looks a little bit better than an 0-11 win over Florida State. Just call me crazy.
Well, yeah, if Michigan loses every single game, but we beat Ohio State, it sucks that we lost the other games, but I'll still take it. I mean, I think everyone's like that. Like,
right. And I'm not saying that I have an Alabama shirt and a Georgia hat and a Tennessee fucking shaker, but
you root for scenarios. You're not rooting.
Exactly. I'm not saying like, fucking let's go.
Because you're still like, fuck those fans.
Oh yeah,
you just want it to benefit your team.
Exactly.
You're still rooting for your team.
And you know what? If it had the same rules as pros, fuck everybody in my whole division. And everybody in a lot of people in the ACC and Big Ten, they're like, I just can't. I hate all my rivals. They're rivals for a reason. You're not wrong. It's awesome that they are rivals. I'm not asking you to get a fucking Miami tattoo if you're a Florida State fan or alum. It just makes, it's how it works. It's not my opinion. It's how it works.
Are you gonna go to the game, the Miami game?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
All right. It's gonna give me a good time.
That'll be a good game.
I honestly think it's gonna be a really good game. I think
Florida's like favored by like 7 or 8.5.
I think it should be closer to like 4.5 and 5. But I'm just saying once we get to game day. But yeah. I think we do have the better team. But honestly, with a game like that, you can throw talent out the window. Like, I would almost rather be in Miami's shoes than being the underdog. Everybody, you know what I'm saying? Just because not an underdog in every game. I hate when people say I like being the underdog. Well, that means that you suck.
Yeah, so, that means you're not better than the team you're playing most of the time.
So, I think it's going to be a really, really good game. Good luck to the Hurricanes fans. I really think it's going to be an awesome game. Hope to see you clowns there. I'll be the one chugging Coors Light like a maniac and Jameson.
What was it you said? What day was it? Sunday morning or something? You're like chugging rum and cokes watching Liverpool?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I text this guy something I was slurring.
I'm at work and I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah, I was like, oh, sorry, man. Already drunk. He's like, yeah, fucking.
The Antonio Brown thing we were talking about.
Well, what was it like? Brunch is what you said.
Oh,
brunch.
yeah, I said brunch. No.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, Liverpool played at 8 a.m., so I'm just pounding Kilo Kai and Cokes. Kilo Kai, which you can get here at Shamrock Liquor Store. I hate rum. I hate it. And it's like a vanilla-based dark rum. It's the greatest thing ever. I fucking love it. It's probably my favorite mixed drink of all time. Kilo Kai and Coke. Both with K's. K-I-L-O and then K-A-I. 2 words. It's unbelievable. If you ever get a chance to taste it, it's fucking fantastic. Or just come over to my house. We'll get drunk and drink it. So it's good. We covered all that.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for NFL, and then college. I think it's too early to talk about. I mean, I always love talking about college, but there's not much going on right now. I guess for the Miami and Florida game, Tate Martell, if he gets cleared for the Hurricanes, that's going to maybe change the spread.
Yeah.
For if people don't know, he came from Ohio State after Justin Fields transferred to Ohio State. And the only reason he might get cleared this year, they're saying, is the whole hardship thing. The coach that recruited him left or whatever, Urban Meyer scumbag.
Right.
But I mean, it's just true. But yeah, NBA. You said somebody wanted to talk about the Lakers. Everybody loves to hate on the Lakers now.
Oh, it's weird because not a lot of people love to hate on them the past 4 years, and they were fucking hot garbage.
Well, I think it's
but now LeBron's there.
I think people like to. It's a lot of people who hate who are always going to be entrenched in the Michael Jordan side of the argument. And anytime you bring it up, it's like, to me at this point, with everything that LeBron has done, it's like if you said either one, you can't say it's like a gigantic difference. Like even if you think it's Jordan, you can't call a person a moron for even suggesting LeBron James. One funny thing that I did see this week, I think it was. Jeff Van Gundy said that they should explore trading LeBron in the offseason. And it was pretty much like, I felt his pain, because it was like everybody, it's like me here, and it's like everybody else on the broadcast kind of looked at each other and then looked at him, and he's like, what did I say? But I think the exact audio that he said is like, nothing should be off the table. They should explore like seeing if they could possibly trade him, or pretty much just saying nothing should be off the table. And Mark Jackson looked at him, he's like, that's not going to happen. And then Mike Breen is just like, yeah, that's never going to happen. No. And they went to commercial.
there
I was like, oh, wow.
But, yeah, so the whole LeBron and LA thing, I mean, in my opinion, I think I said this at a previous podcast, not affiliated with this one or semi-affiliated. Either way, I think that...
creative differences?
I think creative differences. I think that, in my opinion, that LeBron wanted to go to the West Coast because... Like the East is, I'm not going to say too easy because it's tough winning any division or conference in professional sports, period. But going to the West Coast, I think that's the biggest, I guess, slam other than the Michael Jordan thing, in my opinion, was that, well, if he was in the West, this is what happened. So I think part of it, not 100%, but part of it was him going out West just to actually say, are you fucking shitting me?
Do you see this?
I guess Odell Beckham just went to ODB just went to the Browns. Heard my voice just crack there, didn't you?
Oh my God! Holy
man.
shit! For Baker Mayfield? No, the first part's real though. Holy shit!
Fuck, man.
Oh my!
What an absolute nightmare of a locker room that's gonna be.
Live reaction. Oh my God.
Maybe we can be the Rams. I thought the Rams were going to be terrible. Not terrible. I thought the Rams were going to implode because of all the fucking idiots that they had in their locker room. And it turns out they ended up being pretty fucking good this season. So.
Chunk 383. Go Wolverines. Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's just like demoralizing.
Oh my God. That's insane. I can't believe. I mean, I understand that.
Damn it.
I understand that you. Is he getting shots to celebrate?
Fuck me, man. Probably no shots to not celebrate. He's an ODB fan. He's a Giants fan.
What do you think they? It doesn't say right now what they traded. What do you think they traded?
Hopefully a bag of footballs, but I'm assuming it's going to be a little bit more than that. Probably some draft picks.
Oh my God, this is crazy. What pick do the Browns have?
22, something like that.
But
yes, Chad Stretch is very angry. He just shuttled on to the bar to go buy some shots. And yes, Daniel, that does help the Cowboys a little bit. I fucking hate Odell Beckham. I'm not going to deny his talent.
Man,
I don't want him anywhere near a Browns or Cowboys locker room.
This is pretty much going to be the rest of the podcast. I think the Browns are going to be a fucking awesome red zone team next year. I'm talking about the TV channel and in real life. But that is, wow, that is crazy.
Are you about to see what pick?
I'm looking up the draft order. Yeah, because I know the Giants have a higher pick, so
okay.
I don't think it would have to be like a first and a. Well, I mean, if it's anything like Antonio Brown, it's a third and a fifth, but that's definitely not what it is.
I don't know.
I'm looking up the draft order.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of backlash for that or whatever, but.
I get that you don't like the guy, but now that he's on your team, like.
Browns have pick number 17. My little brother was correct. I said 22. I'm an idiot. Browns have the 17th pick in the draft.
Stretch had to get a drink. Is that a kilo and Coke or whatever the hell it was?
Jesus, someone said, Tate says he's seeing that it's a first, a second, a third round, and Jabril Peppers.
Peppers? I love Peppers.
I can't stand that dude. Just
you don't
for
like
a pro
Jabril
step,
Peppers?
right? From watching him as a pro, I think that he cheats way too much on the run. Yeah, he can hit hard a little bit. I don't like him in the open field. He's a punt returner. I think he's very undersized. I mean,
yeah, he's definitely undersized. I get that.
But I mean, we were already talking about the Browns winning the division before this, but man, they sure look fucking good right now.
That is crazy. Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb, and Odell Beckham. The D-line's pretty nasty. Cardinals won. Niners. What am I looking for? Giants.
Jesus, that's fucking nuts.
Giants have 6.
Well, there you go. I think, man, I have no idea exactly what the details are, but you heard it here first. So there you go.
Man, I was shocked. Usually it's just like some bullshit, like check out this dunk or something, but that was crazy. It is like a must-see dunk. And I look at the dunk and I was like, I didn't have to see that.
But, oh well, god damn it. Oh well, now my phone's blowing up, fucked up as well. Jesus Christ almighty. I'm gonna go check that later. But anyways, yeah, so there you go. How do you guys feel about that? Says I'm not okay.
It's crazy that the trade is between both of your guys' teams and neither one is happy.
Yeah, correct. Well, most of my family's happy over here. Which, man, that would have been perfect. That would have been 2 weeks from now, and we may have a guest appearance here in a couple weeks. We're trying to work something out. We'll give you more information next week. There's a possibility of us switching to Wednesday the 27th for one day, but we're not sure yet. So again, we'll keep you guys in the loop. Next week we'll have a lot more information, and we'll figure it out. Biggest concern is can he stay healthy, is what Stuart says. That is probably.
I don't think that's the biggest concern.
Third on my list.
I don't think that's the biggest concern.
Him not throwing up a fucking hissy fit after 3 straight drives when we score. Even if we score 3 straight touchdowns, I bet he'll still be pissing.
You know what I would be curious about is you can. I just kind of thought about this just now, thinking about him and Baker Mayfield, and I was gonna say, if he acted that way with Eli, how's he gonna act with Baker, who doesn't have like the 2 Super Bowl
boys or anything? Yeah.
But then again, at the same time, do you think that he would identify more with Baker? Like he has nothing in common with Eli Manning. Whereas they're closer in age, him and Baker. I'm sure they have they would hang out off the field. Odell Beckham's not hanging out with Eli Manning. I would wonder. At first, I was thinking it was a negative that he might not have but I was thinking maybe he can identify with him more. Maybe it would actually be better than him playing with Eli Manning.
To your point, I think that yes, he might have a better relationship with Baker, but I feel like they're going to be such boys. If something goes awry, then all of a sudden, Baker's ignoring ODB ODB. He's not throwing to him. Whereas if Eli had a tip with him, it's strictly professional because he looks like the father figure and ODB looks like the child. So it's like, look, there's not a tip. I'm still professional. I'm going to throw the ball where the ball needs to be, and that's going to be it. Whereas you might see ODB and Baker out snorting coke off some tits, and then like 2 weeks later, all of a sudden there's dissension in the locker room when he overthrows ODB by 20 yards, or ODB drops 2 passes in a row. All of a sudden now they're getting this big ass fucking tip. It's like
they're both strong personalities.
Yeah.
LSU teammates reunited too. Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham.
Yeah. Well, that was the whole thing. It was like Jarvis is trying to recruit him.
I wonder if that had anything to do with it. I mean, I'm
sure it had something. But
I mean, it depends. I don't know all the details. If he had a no trade clause or.
And the Browns, I know no one gives a shit except for in this town, but the Browns just re-signed Brashard Perriman as well, UCF's own, to another extension.
He'll actually wind up being good, I think, if he can stay healthy. That you can say that about a lot of players.
The slot receiver on that team, Jesus, you're gonna fucking clean the hell up. So it'll be interesting to see where all those players go in fantasy next year as well, because I know Landry went pretty early last year and he didn't produce.
PPR is very PPR dependent on that one. I would say.
So, we shall see. But.
I completely forgot about Kareem Hunt too. I mean, that's going to be that team is going to be. You hate every player on your team now.
Trump, I don't mind, even though he went to Georgia. Garrett, whatever, I'm okay with him. I mean, yeah, Jesus. Well, now I don't have to hate Peppers if he is in fact with that. But
where did he see what the trade was? All I'm on ESPN. It just popped up just now. If he could like chime in and say where he got that from. But yeah, the Browns draft 17th. So, I mean, if they got the first, they would get like the 17th. And that would almost be if they gave up a first, second, and third.
Oh, it's first, third, and Peppers. So it's the 17th pick overall, the third round pick this year, and Jabril Peppers.
And Peppers was a first round pick, so
right.
His value might have gone down depending on how you feel about it.
Oh, that's right. Fucking Kareem goddamn Hunt's on there too. Jesus,
yeah, I just said that. See, clip of the week.
Did you say Kareem Hunt?
I did say Kareem Hunt, didn't I? I said Kareem Hunt, right?
In my defense.
I hope I said
yes.
Shit, now I'm kind of doubting
myself.
myself.
In my defense, I'm trying to keep up with my many followers, and I'm fucking pissed off.
Yeah, I said
Hey, cheers.
I said yes.
Well done.
Yes.
Nice.
I said.
Damn it. It's bound to happen.
I said yes. I said Kareem Hunt, and then I said you're gonna hate every player on your team now. That's what led to that.
I will admit defeat, like a gentleman, as ODB would never do.
Oh man. Yeah, that's gonna be like a team that has like all the fantasy players.
That's the reaction. So mad. We have a delayed little feed over here for us. Goddamn.
And that we have like a group chat too. We found out that I was actually right about the.
Well, closer to being right. I thought you meant what is closer to Golden State, Orlando, or Dallas, wherever the fuck you were talking about.
I think it was the Spurs.
Either way, some team in Texas. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. But whether I was right or not, you guys talked me out of it. So even if I was right, I was wrong.
Goddamn peer pressure.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man.
Christ almighty. Well, there's that. I'll try to steer this away for a moment. If we want to come back to it, we can. But I think one really, really good topic we can touch on quickly is the whole Russell Westbrook thing in the NBA. And Stuart, who's firing on all cylinders over here, for the better or for the worse. For me, it's for the worst, but whatever. Stuart brought up a great point as to, okay, so is this something where the athletes and owners, if you're James Nolan, need to get thicker skin, or are the fans getting too out of control? Is it fine as it is, or are both sides at go? There's four different options here.
Anytime there's gray areas. Anytime if in the instance when some fan, it turned out to be a little kid, but he didn't know that when it happened. If somebody's like touching you or doing that at your place of work, like you were a server, if somebody like grabbed you or touched you, and that's just like a small scale environment. If one of your guests like grabbed your arm or like grabbed your pants or something like that,
physical assault.
You're gonna turn around and be like, what the fuck? Just because he's a pro athlete and it's on TV doesn't mean he has any less right to be like, why are you touching me? And that's his place of work. Just because you have this courtside seat doesn't give you the right. And I get it. Fans paid for the tickets, and whether you think that you have the right to say whatever you want to these guys, and they make millions of dollars, so nobody thinks they have feelings or even cares if they do have feelings. I know. They make millions of dollars, and people are like, if you gave me those millions, you can say whatever you want to me. But everything changes once you have the money. Then once you have the money, you're like, oh, why do I have to be talked to like I'm just like out here for nothing? So anytime it's anything racial, or if he like physically touches them. And then even if someone's just like on
sexual with that one.
What was it?
He said, get out on your knees like I know you like to do, or
right.
be on your knees where you belong.
So where's the line saying like a fan of another team saying you suck, or saying like something? Anytime it's anything like racial, anything about a family member, or like anything personal like that, like you could say you suck, and whether or not you think that's cool or not, it's just kind of. But you can cross a line. Buying that ticket doesn't give you a right to say whatever you want to whoever you want.
Yeah.
Because if you saw that person on the street and it was in the same environment, you wouldn't be bringing that same energy talking to Russell Westbrook like that. Because he looks not huge on TV, but he's taller than a lot of people that you know.
I think one thing that gets lost in here as well is that these players, guys and girls, professional athletes, are at such a high level of competitiveness. Whenever someone yells that out and they just have no fucking clue as to how hard you work to get there, like you were just born with this gift and then just walked into the NBA, like that's not the case for almost any single, other than Kwame Brown, that's not the case for any single professional athlete almost ever. Like this is something that you hone your skills. You are obviously, born with certain talent or whatever, but just the fact that you had this struggle, or whatever you want to call it, to get to the place that you are today, and someone saying that, I'm not saying that they're wrong for saying that, but at the same time, you kind of have to like, just bear with them when they start to turn around and be like, look, I'm super competitive. I'm down by fucking 10.
Yeah.
I just got fouled hard as shit. Now they got this other guy telling me to suck his dick. Like, I'm not gonna be like, hey, you know what? You're right.
There's YMCA's and courts all around of people who were talented enough to make it in the NBA and didn't work hard enough to make it. There's stories, if you listen to radio shows or podcasts, of Stan Van Gundy was saying something on one the other day. I can't remember what I was listening to.
That same type of stuff.
The same kind of thing. What you were saying, like, oh, people think these guys were just like born with this and they didn't work hard to get there. And he was like talking about one of the players he had in the NBA, and he went up to the player and he's like, "Do you hate money?" And the guy's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "If you just worked like a little bit harder and just tried to be like the best," and this guy that's already in the NBA. And he's like, "Do you hate money? Like, all you have to do is like show up on time and try." And the guy didn't do it, and he was out of the league. And so you could have made millions of dollars. So it's not like you could just walk your way through the league. And then to your point, like, someone has their adrenaline going, they're playing at the highest level. Like, imagine if you played in high school or middle school or intramural, any level. Like, when you're playing and you're competitive, even if it's like a pickup basketball game and someone fouls you, like, have you ever heard?
I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, have you not seen fights break out in a pickup basketball court?
Yeah, like if that's a great point.
If somebody on the sideline of a pickup basketball game told you to suck their dick, how are you gonna react? Yeah, and it's gonna be a lot more than a verbal assault too. Like,
yeah.
But I mean, I was curious. I was like, what? And then so they banned the fan from the stadium for life, but then they still fine Westbrook. So they're saying what the fan did was wrong, but what Westbrook did was wrong. So, I mean, what's the right way to react there? Because if he doesn't react the way he did, the fan doesn't get any repercussions either. Nobody's paying attention to it if he didn't react the way he did.
It's really tough because unless you have mics on him and seeing exactly what he said and this and that, which I think they did, then you have a better way of reprimanding. But like that whole Marcus Smart thing at Oklahoma State where he claims that the guy shouted an N-bomb at him, first of all, let's say that is true. And I talked with my friend about this as that happened. My first reaction is like, why the fuck? If he did say that, why weren't more people around him? If he did say that and everybody around him was just in the moment or didn't hear it or whatever, then I'm not really gonna necessarily blame Marcus Smart for going after him because he's a man. Now I know a lot of people are gonna say, well, that's the whole Kareem Hunt thing. She called him. Well, that's a woman. So I'm not saying women can call guys whatever they want, but you're not allowed to fucking put your hands on them. So allegedly, this guy called another guy a very bad word that no one should call anybody, including. I don't think black people should call it black people. I don't think white people should call it. I think we should just be done with that whole word. Period. So that way, there's no fucking discussion as to whether this is a bad word or not. I just don't like. Whatever. That's a whole different discussion.
It's an important conversation. I'm glad we're having it.
Yeah. So if that was the case, then it's fine. But we'll get back into the actual topic. So, anyways, are you farting on me? Is that what's going on?
No, backing away slowly from this conversation as a white person.
Oh.
No, I agree. I understand what you're saying. My first reaction when people are like, "Oh, how do you know the fan really said that to him?" My first reaction is to believe the person until they have credibility issues or you find out they're lying. I would never have my first reaction be like, "No, he's probably lying. That guy didn't say it." It's like, well, then why did he freak out for no reason? It's like, no, he's heard "fu" so many times in his life,
right,
through high school, college, and whatever, that I don't think any regular insult is going to set him off like that. So I would be more inclined to believe when these people are saying like this stuff happened. But yeah, I don't know what you do about it because those seats are valuable. They're not going to move people further away. They barely changed when the whole Paul George injury happened, when he broke his leg because the stanchion of the hoop was too close. They barely changed that just far enough.
Right. Because that would have cost the money for seats.
Yeah. And there used to be writers and reporters that took up like the first two rows. And they got rid of those seats because they were too valuable. Now they sit in a press box because the seats are worth too much money.
Right.
So they're never going to back it up. And then we saw some of this in the NFL this year too. Who was it for the Jags that tried to run up in the stands like Ron Artest?
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. And if he would have got up there, like what would have happened to that? Like these guys are like, if you see them in real life, like if you go to the games, if you go to an NBA game, it seems stupid to say, but these guys are huge.
Yeah.
This person would destroy you.
Yeah. It kind of goes back to what you were saying, like,
and that's far. In the NFL, that's farther away. The NBA, these guys are standing there. These guys are sitting there like right on the court. They could talk to you the whole game, up and down the court. I mean, there's the famous 30 for 30 moment with Spike Lee and Reggie Miller, and it literally like affected the game. Like that's how close these seats are that you're affecting the outcome of the game.
All right, this is why fucking Analytically Correct is the people's podcast, is because it's all of our fucking awesome comments going on and on over here about fucking nonsense. Brian Bond says J.R. Smith said that Utah has the most racist fans in the NBA by far. Chris Carter was going off on it this morning as well. Stuart says Kenny G is the Miles Davis of Utah. What? Yeah, apparently Utah's not really great for
not very diverse over there in Utah. You're saying?
Yeah, I guess not. I did not know. I know it's mainly Mormons over there. Maybe not Utah seeing a lot of black. I don't know, but well, fucking yeah, that's nuts. But anyways, well, Jesus, we've been going for. Oh, it's all right. We're about 43. Yeah. I thought it was over an hour already. Yeah. Let's see. Talk about the Jazz in Utah.
About the who? The Jazz?
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, there you go. Let's see. I mean, the Magic are one game out of the playoffs. Hopefully, we can beat this fucking Heat. I'm just trying to ride the ship here. I know it's been down for a while. Yeah, ODB went to the fucking Browns. Yeah. You got anything else you wanted to chime in on over there for our fantastic viewers? I pretty much crossed out all my shit. I had that one baseball one. That takes about an hour to talk about. So.
No. Actually, yeah, I did want to talk about that. I thought that was interesting. It would be hard to do off the top of my head, but basically to set it up was, and if I mischaracterize your words, just chime in. I think what you were saying is the conversation of what you would call an ace, and that every team doesn't technically have an ace.
Correct.
Because I mean, 32 teams. There's not 32 number one pitchers. Like, so what
50,
is what?
Or 30, yeah.
30, yeah. What is the threshold for who's the last ace, and then after that, it's like that's just the opening day starter.
Right. Like yes, exactly. So it's opening day starter doesn't mean, in my opinion, that you're the ace. Now, when someone says who's your ace, and they're talking to a Royals fan, I think it's just to save them from the conversation of, well, we know you don't have an ace, but who would be your starter?
Archer's been on
the Pirates.
Okay.
I believe it might be Danny Duffy. Who fucking knows? I think that's who it is. You can look it up. But yeah, I think that I just think it's a really cool conversation is to have is like, okay, so where is the line like from ace, considering you being the number one pitcher on generally the better team stats on the majority of baseball team staffs, and then like where does that line end? Like, are we ending at
who's
like
the last ace, and then who's the first?
Yeah. Like, are we ending at like John Lester for the Cubs? I think that's a good one. Like, I think he's awesome. He could start for a lot of really bad teams, but you know what? I don't think he'd be the starter, the opening day starter on a lot of other teams as well. I think he's like right down the pipe there.
You were, and then there's other teams like the Mets who you would have said have almost two. Like you could have gone with DeGrom and Syndergaard.
Syndergaard, yeah, that's right.
And one of those guys could have been the ace for a
bunch of other, so that's an ace.
The 17th team, yeah.
So it's kind of like that. I think it's an interesting conversation to kind of have just about baseball, which starts up here in 2 weeks and 2 days. For those of you Orlando goers or whatever, we're kind of putting in the scheme of things, like where we're going to be going. I'm sure Stretch has got some opening day stuff. I for one have to this place is awesome. I don't know if they have the MLB package, but they have TVs on. They'll definitely be showing some of the primetime games, which you're more welcome to come up here for. What's up, man?
What up, Chad?
So we'll post some other things on later on this week about where we may or may not end up. So. But anyways,
a couple of I always want to do college basketball, especially with the tournament going up.
Yeah.
With the tournament about to start. Zion coming back. We talked about Zion a little bit last week and everything. If he comes back for the tournament, people are kind of saying it kind of switched. And all of a sudden, everybody's on the players' side, to where it used to be like, if he doesn't play, then he's kind of like betraying his teammates. Now everyone's saying like, oh, if he plays, he's stupid by like
betraying his teammates. Yeah, I mean,
not betraying is the wrong word, but like you're not going to play because you're trying to protect yourself. That's kind of like not having your teammates' backs. I honestly hope he plays. If he's 100% healthy, I think he should play, and it'll make the tournament a lot better. As somebody who hates Duke, I still want to see him play as long as they don't win the championship.
Yeah.
Then I'll change my mind. But we gotta do some brackets or something. Maybe we can do like a traveling drunks bracket or something like that. That would be
sure
pretty
there'll
cool.
be one or two in play. I'm sure JJ or Adrian or Stretch or somebody will throw something to fucking together. So.
Yeah. JJ, it's coming down to the wire for the Magic and the Pistons bet that only two people care about. So it's kind of inside. We have a bet every year. He's a Magic fan. I'm a Pistons fan. Whoever has the better record, and surprisingly, I've won it every single year I've known him. I think it's amounted to like $250.
How much you got out of that? 20?
Yeah. I actually, it's a funny story. I don't know how funny it is, but I went to a charity poker tournament and I won a raffle where I won a signed Mohamed Bamba jersey.
Really?
And I wound up just giving it to him. I was going to sell it to him. I just gave it to him. And I was like, I think after doing that, I'm down in this whole bet deal. Like as far as money goes. No, he'll get me on some beers and everything once in a while, but. Yeah, it's looking good. It's looking good again this year. The Pistons, if we can wind up, it doesn't really matter. Like we were talking about this earlier. We talk about all this cool stuff. If you're an NBA fan, the Bucks is a cool storyline. Nobody was expecting them to have like the best record in the NBA with Giannis finally getting into the MVP conversation. But at the end of the day, I think everyone's just kind of bored about talking about the Warriors. But then once the playoffs start, it's like, oh yeah, that's the best team.
Right.
So I was about to say the Pistons, if we can match up with a 6-3 seed with Indiana, maybe we can make the second. It doesn't matter. We're not going to do anything anyways. All we're doing is getting a worse draft pick. But yeah, so that's your Liverpool one. Does anyone care about soccer? Did you want to talk about that for a minute?
Chad kind of does a little bit.
Recap the match for us.
But
if you remember it at all. Or?
Yeah, well, we were down 1-0 early, and then I put in a bet that we were going to win by 2 goals, and we ended up winning 4-2. So
there you go. What did that pay out?
Decent. Nothing crazy. I didn't put a crazy amount. I bet it paid it pretty well. So yeah,
I had a wild week last week. I was up 127 going into Saturday, and then I got drunk and I bet a lot on the Michigan State game. We lost again. That was great. We got Izzo'd again. They beat us again. So I went from up 127 to down 130 something. Then I won 180 on Friday, so I ended up 50. So I had a back and forth week. But sometimes if you bet, you have those weeks where it's like if you just break even, it's a good week.
Right.
Because you started off down.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this week. Did you have anything else that you want to touch on?
Stuart kind of wanted to see like if we had Final Four predictions. I said, well, we need the brackets first because we could pick the Final Four and they could be 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1.
Yeah, I had the projected one pulled up, but even since last week, it's changed so much.
Right.
One cool thing that I will say about the tournament, if like passive college basketball fans, a lot of people don't start paying attention until even like 2 days from now, when they start like getting the brackets and everything,
right.
The tournament winners. But if you have been watching college basketball this year, other than Zion, I think one of the main guys that people know about is a guy called John Morant from Murray State. A lot of people compare him to Russell Westbrook, which Westbrook's one of my favorite NBA players to watch. So I've watched a lot of, probably too much Murray State basketball this year.
Right.
So I was really rooting for them, and they weren't going to make the tournament because of their record. They weren't going to make the tournament. For people who don't know, the seeds are based on like different things, like strength of record and different stuff like that, and like strength of schedule and like your record based on the regular season. But then also at the end of the season, they have the regular season conference champions, and then you have the tournament championships. To where I'm trying to think of who a good example of a team was. I think Michigan 2 years ago would have been like on the bubble, but they won the Big Ten tournament. So after the season, after the season's over, if you win your conference tournament, you get in. So the only way John Morant and Murray State was going to get into the tournament this year, which everyone who watches college basketball wanted him to get in.
It's a sports podcast. I'm sure everybody knows how the NCAA tournament works.
Yeah, fair enough. But everybody wanted him to get in, and they want to see like good players. Like the worst thing that happened was Ben Simmons not being in the tournament a couple years ago because of LSU. But yeah, Murray State won their conference tournament, so they'll be in. So
cool.
That'll be exciting. But other than that, I guess the brackets come out Sunday, so we'll talk about it next Tuesday.
Sunday at 6.
Yeah.
So, like other than the Kentucky Derby, it's like the best, like quickest 2 minutes combined. It's a 30-minute fucking show, but it's like 2 minutes that they just kind of go west, and then they come back commercial east.
And they show all the teams' reactions. It's really cool and stuff like that.
Really, really I'm not a big college sports fan, but I think awesome.
I think everybody, other than like you said, like the Super Bowl, I think March Madness, everybody likes to fill out the brackets and do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. I'm excited about that.
Those of you who fill out more than one bracket, you're an idiot. But
You're the worst.
You didn't call shit.
Right. Especially if it's like 6 brackets.
Or even like if someone has like one with their team winning and then one that they think is for real, just so that way if their team wins, they can say they called it. No, you didn't call it.
Right.
You just wasted a piece of paper is what you did. So that way you can say like, oh, look at me, I totally called it. You didn't call fucking dick. Why is that other one ranked number 1 and this is number 2?
Yeah.
That's so stupid. No, that's you're okay. So either believe in the fact that they can do it or will do it, or no. Like I'm a Gator fan. We're not winning the NCAA tournament this year. I mean, it's a possible.
There are years too. Like there are years where it's like, oh, if the Gators are like an 8 seed,
but they get in.
But they could be an 8 seed, and you're like, oh, I actually kind of believe in them, so I'll pick them. I'm not just gonna pick Michigan on a random year if they're like a 10 seed, and I don't really think they're gonna win. I'll still try to get like the best bracket I can. Like maybe I'll pick them to win an extra game than they should.
Yeah.
But I think there was a year when I picked them to lose against like Duke or something, and they beat Duke in one of the earlier games. But yeah, I'll be picking Michigan this year. I think they have a good enough team to do it. I said to one of my friends, Alex, that I think it's the best team they've had since the Fab Five, and he kind of laughed at me, and I didn't really know what he was laughing about. He doesn't watch college basketball, so he doesn't really know shit anyway.
Oh, there you go.
So. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We got everything in free agency and college basketball.
All that good shit, man.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Thank you guys as always. I really do appreciate it. The comments make this whole thing. Seriously, like we are the People's Podcast, baptizing us right now for that. I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, you guys, your comments with all the input, it really does make us look a lot better than we really are. Tell
us what you want to talk about, and we'll talk about it.
For sure. Yeah, we always have stuff kind of listed on the side just in case there's like a lull or whatever. But like, if you guys want to talk about fucking women's tennis, I'll fucking figure it out. So we'll.
I didn't watch the last round of the Bay Hill or the Arnold Palmer, the Bay Hill.
Arnold Palmer.
Yeah, I don't even remember who won. I know
Francisco Molinari.
Oh, Molinari won. Yeah, I know. I had.
Got a 64 on Sunday.
I did bet on Fitzpatrick against McIlroy to have a better last round, so I was really pumped when he got one of the.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, thank you guys again.
Good note to end it on. Some inside golf betting. We'll end it there.
There you go. Join us next week. Hopefully, we'll have some more information for you for the week after that, if we're moving or not. Until then, tune in to the rest of the Charlie Junks podcast throughout the week for myself, Bredigans, Marty, and Stretch. See you guys next week. All right. Thanks.